Hey, this is Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures, and you are listening to the Ghost host, Sophia Temperilli, on LiveParanormal.com.
Hey everyone! Today we welcome Emmy Award-winning co-creators and executive producers Bill Motz and Bob Roth as they both celebrate today's launch of The Ghost and Molly McGee on Disney Channel, Disney XD, and streaming starting tomorrow on Disney+. Everyone, you can interact live on social media by hashtagging The Ghost and Molly McGee or hashtag TGAMM. I want to thank Disney Channel, Bill Motz, and Bob Roth for making today's show possible. So let's welcome them into the show.
Hello. Thank you for having us, Sophia.
Thank you so much for coming on, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
we're very excited about season 2.
Yes.
I mean, it's so awesome that you guys created the show and produced it. I mean, just being able to create a show is such an incredible feat in and of itself, and the fan base you guys have gathered is incredible as well, which is so evident on social media. So for the show itself, do you want to walk everyone through kind of how you started creating it and just how this all came about for you both?
Do you want to start, Bob?
Yeah, okay, I'll dig in. So we came up with this show a long time ago. It was like 15 years ago, and Bill recalls it. I don't really, but I had the initial spark of the idea, which was, just that first scene from the very first episode where Molly meets Scratch. He puts a curse on her, threatens to be with her wherever she goes, whatever she does. He's going to be there haunting her, tormenting her. And then she goes, "Oh, that sounds like a best friend. You're going to be with me wherever I go." He's like, wait, hold on. That's not what I was intending here. And then, he winds up being dragged along on all her merry misadventures and becomes her best friend. And it's not a one-way friendship. They become best friends. There's mutual affection both ways, which he never expected. So we had that nugget of an idea 15 years ago, and we pitched it around. We even pitched it at Disney, and it just never found a home for itself. But we kept it in our back pockets. Because we knew there was a show there. We knew there was something fun. There was a nugget of an idea. And then about, 4 or 5 years ago, we stumbled into an overall deal at Disney. And we dusted that idea off again. Everybody we had pitched it to had long since left the company. And this time, it clicked. And they said, yes, there's something really interesting and fun about that. We started digging into it. And the more we started to dig into it, the more we started to realize, oh, Bill's totally a Molly. I'm totally a Scratch. This will be easy. All we have to do is talk about our lunch conversations. I'm an introvert, and Bill's gregarious. I'm a cynic, and Bill's an optimist. And that was sort of like, that was the show. We could see it clearly from that moment on.
I mean, that's incredible you guys kept with it for that long. I mean, I think just with Disney Channel, too, there's always been an interesting kind of supernatural stuff. You have That's a Raven, The Haunted Mansion, and so it's fun to see that continue through the different generations. I was definitely a That's a Raven generation, and I think it's amazing just to have the adult who still loves the shows that Disney makes. I think it's really fun that it's family-friendly for all ages, and just to continue that throughout. When you actually got greenlit for the show, what was your creative process then in finding your amazing voiceover cast and kind of developing from there?
Well, it was about a 2-year process, the development process. And, one of the things that I think was really interesting was in that, for example, one of the executives said, take 2 weeks and just study ghosts. Just find out all sorts of ghosts. And one of the things that we discovered in that was the wraith concept, which I had heard of from Lord of the Rings, but what I hadn't realized is, that a living person can, become a wraith, and realize we could use that at the end of season 1 when Molly jumps through the portal, and becomes this wraith. So it was fun to be able to kind of explore and find little elements that we could pull in, and I think it made the show much richer than what we had originally intended. And then, in the process, we were pretty quick to realize that Dana Snyder should be our Scratch. We had worked with Dana before, both on Penguins of Madagascar and also on Lego Star Wars: The Freemaker Adventures, and just love his sense of humor and his improvisational skills. It also turns out he is a giant Disney fan, and so. But then the hunt for Molly was a little trickier. We had originally met Ashley Birch as a writer in a punch-up meeting we were having to try to help discover Molly's voice and her energy and her tone. And at the end of the meeting, and she brought a lot of great ideas to it, one of the executives said, she does voices. Really? So then we auditioned her and went, oh my gosh, she is perfect. That's our Molly. And when we said that, the casting department said, oh, sorry to tell you that she's already committed to a different show that was also in development. So we were like, okay, we had to go sort of through a search, and we found, some very talented people that, we've worked with some of whom we'd worked with before and are excellent, but just didn't capture the same kind of dynamic and energy that, Ashley had kind of set this bar. And it made the hunt, I don't know, what was it, Bob, like 9 months of hunting for the voice maybe?
Yeah, it was a long time, yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time. And then, someone else's misfortune turned out to be our gain because they had punted that particular project, which made Ashley available for us. So we went instantly, just grab her.
Yeah.
And
more auditions.
And what was so amazing was that putting her and Dana together just gave such incredible energy to Molly and Scratch, their ability to play off each other, and also, not just for comedy, but also for emotional depth was great. They could have, very funny conversations and very sincere, heartfelt conversations. And given that most of the time we were making this show, we were in pandemic lockdown, they had to accomplish that kind of connection over Zoom.
Well, I mean, you could kind of consider that kind of like talking to ghosts in real life because you can't really see them, but you can hear them. So it definitely builds upon the show. But I think the relationship dynamic is great. I've actually been an investigator since I was 8 years old, and I lived in a haunted house. I didn't have quite the experience as Molly had with her ghost. I think it's great just to show the dynamic that can be available if you did live in a haunted house, and show kind of that kids don't have to be scared if they are experiencing it. It's not just a fun show for people to kind of watch and interact with. It can also be something to show kids they can be braver in their real life and, go out there and not be afraid of things that they may not fully understand.
Yeah, I think that was an intentional, choice. One, as a kid, I was terrified of ghosts, the idea of ghosts. So I thought it was helpful to sort of model that if you encounter something different than you were expecting, or you're facing sort of the unknown, and whether that's about supernatural or just someone you just met on, in a classroom or something. The idea is sometimes our first response to something is fear, and maybe a healthier choice can also be to be more curious, or just to kind of be excited about what you can learn in this process. So the difference isn't always scary. Difference can be actually quite exciting.
Absolutely. And I know we were talking about how you cast the main voices, but Bill, can you also tell us about the amazing guest stars you have on this upcoming season?
Yeah, well, so first of all, we got to shout out to our original cast, our main voice cast. So as we mentioned, Ashley is Molly and Dana is Scratch, but we also have Jordan Klepper as Pete McGee, and Michaela Dietz is Daryl, and Molly's mom and Grandma Nin are Sumali Montano, and then of course Libby as Laura Jill Miller. And let's see, for season 2 guest cast, let's see, we have the Chen family in season 2. So Alan Lee is the voice of Ollie Chen, Sue-Ann Pien is the voice of June Chen, Stephanie Sheh is Esther Chen, and Leonard Wu is Ruben. And then we have Tony Hale this season, Paul F. Tompkins, W. Earl Brown, Kimberly Brown.
Pause on Paul F. Tompkins for a second. Hey, Bill, pause on Paul F. Tompkins for a second, because I think for this show in particular, Paul F. Tompkins is going to be a special guest star, because he is playing a paranormal podcaster who is not like you. He is full of himself and winds up ghost-splaining ghosts to Scratch. So
yes,
stay tuned for that episode. Yeah,
yes, that one is hilarious, and kind of I don't know. I mean, we don't want to put any words in your mouth, but maybe there's sometimes tensions between paranormal investigators in trying to get attention. So I don't know. That's what happens here. So I don't want to make it awkward for you. You can just pass. That's fine. Whatever. But
it does happen.
Yeah. It happens in everything, right? I mean, I find any kind of profession or vocation or avocation, and there will always be competition and tension, I think. So Vincent Rodriguez is a major character in season 2. We're very excited for the audience to get to meet his character. Andrew Fung, and then coming back, we have Yvette Nicole Brown, Danny Trejo, Jane Lynch, Liza Koshy, Jennifer Lewis, Pamela Adlon, Thomas Lennon, Patton Oswalt, and Jessica Keenan-Wynn. So we're very excited. We've been really just so fortunate to have this amazing, amazing cast. And they all bring such fun and distinct energy to the show, and I think you see it and hear it on screen.
Well, by the sounds of it, too, with your paranormal podcaster and your research on investigators, you guys did a great job researching the field.
Thank you.
I mean, it's just one of those things. But I do think it's, one of the endearing things about the show is, although it is a cartoon and it's fun and lighthearted, you do have those realistic aspects, especially with the Chens, too. If you want to tell the audience a little bit about what they can expect with this upcoming season, too.
So the Chens they're the new neighbors. They move in across the street. And the McGees, when they meet them, they feel like, wow, these 4 are the perfect match for us. There's a dad who our dad gets along with. There's a mom who our mom gets along with. There's a little crush for Molly and a little playmate companion for Daryl, Ollie and June. And it seems like this is going to be great. We're going to vacation together. We're going to make a pool together. We're going to do everything together. This is our best friend family. And then they learn, oh, these people are ghost hunters. And if they learn about our dear beloved Scratch, it's going to be really bad news for him and us. So the balancing act of, and of course, by the end of it, they've become friends and made all these plans together. So they can't just cut them off cold without raising suspicion. So for Scratch's sake, the McGees decide they have to, keep their friends close and their enemies closer. And then Molly's plan is to hopefully slowly introduce the Chens to the notion of ghosts and convince, they're already convinced that ghosts are real, but that introduce them to the notion that not all ghosts need to be feared. And that's sort of Molly's goal for the season. And we'll see how that plays out. There's lots of fun twists and turns as she sets about that quest.
I mean, that's a great goal just in general. Because, like you said, not all ghosts have to be feared. And I think that's just such an important message. As someone who's a paranormal investigator, I think that is just important for everyone. Because when you hear something, it's completely understandable to be scared, but you don't always have to be.
Right. Scratch is from that.
Yeah. I mean, ghosts may want to mess with you a little bit, but it doesn't always mean they're malicious. I mean, if you passed on, you might get bored and want to mess around too.
Sure.
Or just remind people that you are,
Yeah.
So it was fun to research gear, like the Chenf, the EMF readers, and the thermal goggles, and some of those kind of fun things to try to play in. So we tried to use a little bit of the tools that we saw that paranormal investigators were using.
This is author Alexandra Holzer, and you're listening to Ghost host Sophia Temporelli.
Hi, this is Jeff Belanger, host of 30 Odd Minutes, founder of GhostVillage.com, and author of lots of your favorite paranormal books, and you're listening to the Ghost host, Sophia, on LiveParanormal.com. Boo!
Hey, this is Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures, and you are listening to the Ghost host, Sophia Temperilli, on LiveParanormal.com.
The Ghost Host on LiveParanormal.com.
Ghost and Molly McGee is premiering, and people can stream all the past seasons on Disney Plus, and you can also check it out on Disney Channel. But for people who really want to tune into this season currently but haven't seen the previous one, what are some things they should know about the last season of Molly McGee and what they can expect from catching up on those past episodes?
So, first of all, they're a lot of fun, and I think those episodes are a lot of fun to watch, together with friends or family, and I think one of the things you will see is that there's a shift. The relationship starts between Molly and Scratch a little bit, with Scratch reluctantly being stuck in this pairing, but pretty quickly we pivot to he's happy to be part of the McGee family. And even by the time we get to season 2, Scratch has decided that he is actually the most beloved member of the family. So it's this kind of fun growth that he has had. And I think what you get from season 1, or what you should know going forward, is that Molly wants to make the world a better place. And but she is idealistic and optimistic, but she is not sort of lost in sort of naive idealism. She knows that comes with work, and it can be challenging, and that there are setbacks and disappointments, but she's resilient to kind of face it all. And that ultimately has a big confrontation in the ghost world. And after that confrontation, there's just an unbelievable dynamic shift of what is happening then in afterlife. So the overall message is, I think, hope, with a lot of heart and humor thrown in. And that continues in season 2 as we go deeper with all the characters, learning more about who they are or who they were. And I think also it's just a good time. It's a lot of fun.
For sure. And I know we're coming towards the end of the show here, but as a fan of, so many shows and TV things, I think it's always so interesting to find out unique behind-the-scenes facts. So for each of you, what is one fact you think fans would love to know that happens behind the scenes?
Boy, I think for me, maybe one of the fans may know this, but if you're not really familiar with animation, we start with the script, and then we record the script. And in the recording process, we encourage our actors to ad-lib and add to. And then we select sort of what we think are the best moments of the performance and build a radio play. It's sort of it's almost like listening to a podcast of the episode. And then our board artists listen to that and begin creating the physical acting to go and creating the shots and dynamics that you see visually on the screen, bringing the voice performance to life in a physical performance. And then they also add to, they sort of like, what if it was really funny? What if we did this here? What if we, Megan Fisher was the first one to kill a bird, and you see a ghost bird go flying off. And the other board artists thought that was hilarious and became a runner in the show. And then from there, it gets shaped in by the directors into the animatic form, and we punch it up and revise it from there on, and it goes to animation, and then we finally add our sound and our music, and it all comes to life all together. So anyway, I think that's maybe what they don't know maybe people don't know is that it starts with story and voice, and then becomes a visual show.
I'm going to give you
that's amazing.
A quicker, simpler one. The Ollie Chen, the new character this season, is physically based upon one of our writers, Paul Chang. Justin Rodriguez, our lead character designer, was just like, I can look all around for inspiration for what Ollie should look like, or I can look at the guy who sits, in the door next to me. And so he just modeled Paul. And as soon as we saw the first design of him, we were like, hey, that's Paul. And
yeah, there's a few characters in the show.
Right there.
Yeah, a lot of the ghosts in the Ghost World are modeled after our crew. Yeah, so even Bob and I have very awkward ghost sonas that are in the show. So.
That is fun though. Incorporating the crew is always amazing.
Everybody
for the fans to see and the crew.
A lot of the artists made their own ghost sonas, and I have to say, everybody caricatured themselves in the least flattering way imaginable. Like,
yes, exactly.
They all went for really broad caricatures of themselves, which I really appreciate. It's fun.
That's great. Why wouldn't you? If you have to make a character, why not make one of yourself? Because it's easy to, look in the mirror and be like, oh, okay, I can add this or change this.
Mm-hmm.
But we are coming towards the end of the episode. Is there anything that either of you would like to promote? Any websites, Twitter accounts, anything either of you would like to mention?
Well, you can find me at Automatic Gravy on Twitter and Instagram. As long as Twitter is still standing, we'll see how long that lasts. Bill, go ahead.
I'm at I'm at Inevitably Bill on all those handles, and. Yeah, my Twitter is back under my control. I had a rough week this past week, so but anyway, so for now I'm still. You can find me at Inevitably Bill on Twitter.
Well, I want to thank you both so much for coming on today, and again, congratulations on season 2 of The Ghost and Molly McGee. I can't wait to watch it, and I can't wait to see all the fan reactions as well.
Well, thank you, Sophia.
Thank you. This was so much fun. Yeah.
Well, you're both always welcome back on in the future if you have anything you would like to promote.
Excellent.
Well, thank you.
We'd love to do it. Keep tuned because there's lots of ghost fun coming up in season 2.
Absolutely. We love spooky fun over here. So thank you guys again and have a great rest of your weekend. Everyone, I want to thank you all for listening. This show was amazing. Make sure to check out The Ghost and Molly McGee on Disney Channel and Disney XD. Also, you can stream it on Disney Plus the next day. And I want to thank Disney Channel for making this possible. I would like to thank everyone at The Ghost and Molly McGee, too, for, all your support on Twitter and everything. And I would like to thank, of course, Bill Motz and Bob Ross for coming on today. And I will talk to you guys again next week back with more spooky fun. So thank you, guys. Make sure to check it out. Bye.
Not only am I Dave Schrader, but I'm Dave Schrader of Travel Channel's The Holzer Files, and you're listening to host Sophia Temporelli on LiveParanormal.com. I feel left out. I wanted to throw myself into your mix of voiceovers now.
I love it. It's almost like we didn't leave break.